G'day guys. I'd like to wish everyone, happy new year. And, I hope that 2021 is a better one than the one that we've already seen nearly the back of. Hope you enjoy your New Year's Eve celebrations with yourselves and your family. Take care. Um, be careful, sort of avoid idiots and stuff like that if you're going to go out and celebrate. If you're at home, I hope you enjoy the company of your family or extended family or friends. Um, you know, enjoy yourselves. Don't sort of be too guilty about. I'm going to have a few drinks myself with my mates. I'm sort of sticking to. I've got a nice bottle of vodka as well to enjoy. So it's when it comes to alcohol, clear alcohols are a bit less of an issue compared to others. Others tend to have either tannins that can be problematic or have sugars in them, and they can be an issue. Some of the old mitigation strategies, just reminding you, the B vitamins. We tend to actually go through more B vitamins. Taurine is also very good because it actually is protective to the liver. It sort of reduces the amount of fat in the liver. It also deals with some of the sugar as well that's coming into the liver. So taurine is a really good hack. A couple of 1 or 2 grams depending on your size. Choline is another important element there because it does export fat out of the liver. So, but then again, it depends on what you're eating as well, whether you need, how much of these supplements you need in that regard. If, for instance, you're eating quite a few animal products, you're probably going to get, especially, if you're adding a few organ meats or eggs, stuff like that, they tend to have things like choline in them. I've got a bit of liver pate, so I'll be consuming a bit of that. So I'll be getting some B vitamins there. I'll be getting some choline there, some taurine as well. So I've only gone for a gram. In my case, in terms of supplemental. So that sort of stuff. Sort of the B vitamins. Liver has also got a bit of selenium, which helps with glutathione. So that's another thing. Plus, liver has alpha lipoic acid, some quantity, which helps with refreshing all the different sort of being a super electron donor. So if you got a supplement like that, which I've run out because I've used it for a while, because I've sort of cut back on my alcohol consumption quite a bit. So in that regard, I didn't really need it. But if you've got it, take it. So really, don't overdo it. Enjoy yourselves. Have a bit of ice cream like I am going to. So I'm going to enjoy myself. A bit of, enjoy a bit of vodka. Good quality Polish vodka. So that'll be nice and enjoyable. So anyway, enjoy yourselves, and look forward to seeing you in the new year, and we can sort of continue the journey, and sort of improving our health, demystifying some of the BS out there, and improving not only our health but also being a sort of a source of disseminators. You guys can be disseminators into your own families of some of this information, which can help them as well. So at the end of the day, I can only touch so many people. You guys can touch far more. Those 7 points of separation, utilize them, and don't be like the annoying vegans or anything like that. People will come to you if they see things improving in your life. They'll go, how did you get that? How does that working for you, and all that sort of stuff. So we'll go into some of this sort of stuff in the new year, like some of the B vitamins for 3 months to sort of restore your gut microbiome, some other protective strategies and stuff like that. So we'll look at all this sort of stuff. That's sort of my focus will be to sort of try and actually provide you guys with sufficient biohacks and little bits of wisdom which you can apply to your diet to sort of improve things. Certain things are required for some people, other things, lesser requirement. So there's, and the important thing is we, also I point out some of the BS out there, which continues to recirculate continuously, whether it's the electrolyte stuff or it's the so-called overvitaminosis or whatever. These things keep on circulating, they never stop. Unfortunately, it's like they get a new wind of life to them and sort of keep on being recycled by different characters and different people. So, it's a never-ending struggle to sort of point out the obvious sort of stuff. One of my recent, I noticed there was an email. I just sort of took a quick look. I haven't replied back, but they will hear this and they'll know. And there was a bit of banter about vitamin A and, big issue there. And I go, well, when it comes to vitamin A, excessive amounts, we've seen much higher amounts in the literature and stuff like that without any deleterious effects. And this was in regards to thyroid. There was somebody in our community that was speculating that there may be an issue with thyroid and all that. I'm going, not really, vitamin A is not going to be the issue, so that's, I don't see it that way. You could potentially create an imbalance with vitamin D, if it's really excessive stuff we're talking about, you've got a very high deficiency in vitamin D for whatever reason, then that could cause some issues. But generally speaking, it's going to be very minor. Let's not forget that, things like that we sort of seem to miss the importance of iodine and selenium. There is a certain balance there. And sometimes if people are eating organ meats, for instance, and eating too many organ meats and getting far too much selenium, they can cause a slight deficiency in iodine. So it could be that, rather than the so-called retinol, where I don't know where that bloody came out of, that sort of speculation. But there is a sort of a, you can, from excess iodine or excess selenium, cause an imbalance in the other. So there is that issue. So that may be the thing that people are noticing, having far too much organ meats, not getting enough iodine because they avoid eggs or they avoid, iodinized salt or whatever else, or certain other types of sources, in seafood and whatever. So there could be a lot of reasons. That's why I usually say more mixed, less of an issue, or not go crazy on the organ meats, because nobody ever went crazy. I mean, Greeks, as Mary actually pointed out, used to basically, we overcook, our organ meats, so we diminish, so we can have a bit more and it's less of an issue. If you're having it in a raw or having it undercooked, I can tell you're going to be uptaking far more stuff, and that can be an issue, So there's all these sort of things that you need to take into consideration and be very careful and mindful of. Other thing is, if you're taking medication, you may basically end up, let's say you're consuming grapefruit juice, you could basically end up with an overdose. So if you're taking, let's say recreational drugs or some other thing, there's a risk with grapefruit because there's an enzyme that actually breaks down. And that's why drug companies put a certain dose, or, let's say people that push this sort of stuff, the illegal stuff, push a certain dose. You could actually overdose very easily because grapefruit will create greater bioavailability. It will actually, the cytochrome P450 3A4 basically can be downregulated, can be affected, can be impeded. And so sort of the ability to basically deal with, you actually end up with a high bioavailability of drug, whether it's illegal or illegal, and that can create problems in people. People have ended up in hospital with a whole lot of issues because of that. So, people have got to be very careful what they're putting in and what they're combining and stuff like that. If they don't know, they can get themselves into all sorts of trouble in this sort of period where people tend to, let's say, push the envelope on all these sort of things, both recreational, non-recreational, whatever else. So, be very careful. I don't I don't basically promote any of this sort of stuff. I usually say alcohol's not a good thing, drugs are not a good thing, and all this sort of stuff. But if you know, members of your family or somebody or yourself or whatever, for whatever reason, decide to abuse your body in this way, make sure you're avoiding things like grapefruit. You don't need it. And if you want to use anything, use lemon juice, you know, less of a problem. So, you know, just keep all that sort of stuff in mind, keep safe, and I hope to see you all in the new year. So Happy New Year from yours truly, and I will see you all in the new year. Take care. See you guys.